I want to go over the solution for problem 31 and problem 33, but this time, because a question came up, I have a Mac. Could you help me go through and looking at the solution in a Mac environment? The solution that I provided for you was in a PC environment. So that's legit because there's quite a few of you out there that are operating in a Mac OS X. I myself operate in a Mac environment platform. I also do it in a PC. So I just want to go through the solution as such. And you will see, and I think I've alluded to this in the past in some previous videos, that Mac is not that user-friendly when it comes to linear programming. And I'll demonstrate what I consider it is not as user-friendly as in the PC environment. Saying all that, as you can see, I'm in a Mac. I've already set the problem up, and the main thing, of course, would be the solutions. And again, we're looking at the solutions for 31 and 33. So you can see it's maximization. In 31, you're given $5 for X and $6 for 2 from the standpoint of the profits being generated by selling one unit. You were given the constraints, right? And then on the right-hand side of the equation, you were given 120, whatever the 120 could be, 120 hours, 240 hours. Okay, so the problem is set up. So from the standpoint of getting the solution, we would come up to tools, and we would come down to solver. So you may have to go ahead and install the solver if you're in a Mac environment. So we hit solver, and you're going to get these drop-down menu. That's going to be solver parameters. Well, everything is okay. So all that you want to do is come down here and hit solve. And then you're going to get another drop-down menu. But before I get there, you can see, okay, what's my optimal solution? What's my optimal output solution? Well, okay. In other words, I'm going to produce 30x, 60 of x2 or 60 of y, and my profit maximization is 510. Now let's come back over here, because on the solver results, we want to be able to respond to some questions like 31B and 31C and 33B and C. So this is what you would do. On the solver results, that drop-down menu, you would hit, on the reports, let's just highlight answer, sensitivity, and limits. Not that we're going to utilize all of those, but let's just go ahead and let's just highlight it, and I'll go through each one of those reports with you. Okay, so what we have down here, right, we generated those reports, and you can see in the let's go to the sensitivity report. The sensitivity report. This is sort of similar to the results on the dual function in the PC. But here we know 3060, right? And then it's saying, let's look at B, right? Part B of 31 says, if a technical breakthrough occurred that raised the profit per unit of X to 8, would this affect the optimal solution? Well, in other words, what it's telling us, this is for X, this is for X. It's saying we can increase it by 7, or we can decrease it by 1. Okay, in other words, the objective function was 5. So, in other words, if we can go to 8, right, it's saying 6, 7, 8, we can increase it to 7. Well, 7 plus 5 is 12, and we're looking at 8. Or allowable decrease, 5 minus 1 is 4. So once again, what this is telling us is that yes, we could increase our profits per unit sold for X from 5 to 8 because it is still within the boundaries. And this will not change our optimal output solution. So that's how you would read this. It's telling you that right now, right, the objective coefficient, $5. If I go to 8, right, I'm okay because I can increase it by $7. Once again, remember that we are looking at between 4 and 12, not inclusive of 4, not inclusive of 12. Likewise, in other words, if we had to isolate on x2 or fy, we could have an increase of 1.5 or 3.5, right? Increase by $1.50 or decrease it by 3.5. So that's really what it's telling us. And in 31C, it says instead of an increase of coefficient x to 8, suppose that the profit was overestimated, and we go down to 3. Well, down to 3. The allowable decrease is only to decrease my profits by 1 without changing our optimal output solution. Before 3, yes, there would be a change in my solution. So that's pretty much how you would look at in a Mac environment from the standpoint of sensitivity report. Now, if we look down here in the second part, and this goes with problem 33. This is in 33B. It says if the right-hand side of constraint 1 were increased by 1, how much would the profit increase? Well, once again, we have to focus on, is constraint 1 bounded? I.e., have we totally utilized all resources? And if we look at the limit report, let me come over here, to maximum. It would be under our answer report. We're looking at slack. Look at constraint 1, constraint 2. The cell value is 120 and 240, right? In other words, I've allocated, let's say, 120 hours to constraint 1. I allocated 240 to constraint 2. And you can see here with our optimal solution, right? Optimal solution of 3060, I have 0 and 0. That's telling me that I've used up in my production. I've used up 120, I've used up 240. So if a resource is bounded, that simply means that if I add an additional unit, 120 to 121 or 240 to 241, that's going to increase profits. If I had slack, I'm not going to add any additional, right, hours, because that would simply kind of go into inventory. So when I come back over here to my sensitivity report, I'm looking over here, my shadow price. And this is really telling us, if you kind of look down here, you've got 0, 0 from constraint 1, constraint 2. That's telling you that they're bounded. I've utilized 120. I've utilized 240. So this is telling me what's going to happen to profit in my constraints. Constraint 1 and constraint 2 happens to be bounded. That tells me, as it's asking in 33B, if the right-hand side of constraint 1 to be increased by 120 to 121, what would happen to the profit? The profit would increase by 75 cents. And then in C of 33, if the right-hand side of constraint 1 dealing with 120, increases by 10, 120 to 130. Okay, that's an increase of 10. What's going to happen to my profit? Well, 10 times 75 cents is $7.50. So, hopefully this helps those of you that are totally in a Mac environment. As I said, it's a little bit more cumbersome. It's not as user-friendly as it is in a PC environment, but that's how you would determine from the standpoint of dealing with the what-if analysis or sensitivity analysis about what happens to profits. Does anything happen to my my optimal output? Or from the standpoint, if I change my profit picture from the standpoint of X or Y, what will happen to my profits? So once again, not to be redundant, but I will be redundant, it's not as user-friendly, but that's how you get around to